So we're looking at example 5 here, where we're using an if statement with AND logic. So there's different types of logical conditions that can be used in an if statement with 2 or more conditions. So here we can define multiple conditions in an if statement using the AND logic shown in the following example. So when we use the AND logic, guys, it's a double ampersand. That's what these symbols are called. And it's used to apply the AND logic to an if statement. So we're going to create a file named ifwithand.sh. And the value of the variable username and the value of the variable password are going to be taken from the user and compared with admin and secret. If both values match, then the output would be valid user. Otherwise, output would be invalid user, okay? So there's a lot going on here, but it's not as complicated as you think. So let's check it out on our virtual box. So we're going to use the actually, let me clear my screen real quick. So we use the text editor Vim. I'm going to give it this huge name, if with and .sh. I hit I for insert mode. I'm going to do I'm going to enter my hash plane /bin/bash. This is always what you start your scripts with. Oops. I'm going to go to the next line just to make it look nicer. So I'm going to do echo, enter username. We're going to use that read command that we just learned about in a few examples ago. And we're going to name the variable username. So it's going to take the input from the user and store it in this variable username. And then we're going to do another echo and say enter password. Okay. We're going to use that read command again. We're going to take the input from the user again and store it in a variable called password. I'm going to hit enter twice just so my script looks a little bit nicer. Guys, these spaces in between things don't matter. When scripts are run, it reads it line by line. So it reads this line, then this one, then this one, then this one, then this one, and so on and so on. So putting blank spaces in between your lines doesn't matter. It's just going to see that line is blank and head to the next one. So it just looks nicer to kind of separate things. I'm going to do a double square bracket, and then I'm going to do a parentheses. And I'm just going to type all this out, guys, and then I'll explain it once we got everything set up. So if username is equal to, we use a double equal sign to mean equal to, the string admin, okay? And then I'm going to close out that parentheses. And, so double ampersand, parentheses, the password, or the variable password is equal to secret, the string secret. I'm going to close out the parentheses. I'm going to close out that whole statement with double square brackets, semicolon, then echo valid user. Else echo invalid user. And we end the statement with feet. Okay. Oops. Feet. Ooh, what happened here? Oops. The spacing is actually off. Alright. Else. There we go. Fix spacing. Oops. There we go. Alright. We want all that nice and lined up. Okay. So let's explain what's totally going on here. So we have our if statement. Now we use double square brackets because we want to encapsulate everything that's going on here. Okay? So we want to encapsulate this as one single statement. Now the reason we used these parentheses here is because we also wanted to close each of these as kind of their own little part. If I didn't use these parentheses here, okay, it would kind of see all this as one statement and it would try to interpret things together. So it might say, hey, admin and password have to be part of each other, or maybe, you know, it's just reading this whole thing as one line, and we don't want that, okay? We want each of these. We want the variable password to equal secret and the variable username to equal admin to be their own things, okay? But we want the statement as a whole to be a single thing. We want this whole statement to be true, and that's why we use double brackets to encapsulate it, okay? So remember, parentheses are used for arithmetic. And in this case, we're saying we want these equal signs to mean equal, okay? And brackets are used to test expressions, meaning is it true? We're testing things against each other. Brackets are used to test expressions, whether they're true or false. So that's why we're using square brackets to test these statements to see if they're true or false. Parentheses is being used in this case to see if the username variable is going to equal admin. And then the double ampersand sign is and logic. So this whole statement can only be true if this first part is true and the second part is true, okay? If they are, then it's going to echo valid user. If one of these is false, then the whole thing's going to be false if we're using and logic, and else it's going to echo invalid user, okay? So let's check that out. We'll do escape right quit. We're going to make it executable, so chmod all plus x if underscore with underscore and dot sh. We're going to execute it with the bash if underscore with underscore and dot sh. Enter username. I'm going to do admin. Enter password, secret, invalid user. Let's see, what did I... Aha! So here's what happened, guys. I spelled secret wrong. So remember, this is a literal string. If I do not put this letter for letter, then it's going to say it's false. So I need to spell the word secret correctly. There we go. So now I'm going to do right quit. We're going to try that over. Let me clear my screen. So we're going to do bash if underscore with and sh admin secret. There we go. Okay, so with proper spelling, it'll work correctly. So let's head back to our project real quick. So it took the user input from me, stored it in username, and it took the user input from me and stored it in password. Username did equal admin. Password did equal secret, so then it echoed valid user, okay? Let's head back to our VirtualBox real quick, and I'm going to show you what happens when I make one of them false. So I'm going to execute that script again. I'm going to say, hey, actually, my name is Kevin. That's my username. My password, well, I'll make it secret. Invalid user, right? One of them was false, so the whole thing was false, so it echoed that second part, right? So that is how you can use multiple expressions and statements in an if statement.